The news broke like a thunderclap on a clear January morning. The Supreme Court had struck down the Trump-era tariffs. Headlines flashed worldwide. SCOTUS strikes down Trump tariffs. Trade war over? Global markets soar. For nearly a decade, these tariffs had shaped the American economy, a pillar of the America First policy. Now, in a stunning 6-3 decision, they were declared unconstitutional. The world held its breath as the Dow Jones surged over 1,000 points, signaling Wall Street's relief. Businesses, long burdened by costly tariffs and broken supply chains, saw hope for refunds and recovery. A major automaker's spokesperson spoke of billions in potential refunds, while a steelworkers' union leader warned of a flood of cheap imports threatening jobs. The decision was deeply personal. Windfalls for some, uncertainty for others. The court hadn't just tweaked policy, it had dismantled a pillar of presidential power. Political leaders scrambled to respond. The administration, which had kept many tariffs in place, now faced a new reality. Lawmakers who'd called the tariffs unconstitutional claimed vindication. Supporters decried the ruling as judicial activism. The ruling instantly redrew political battle lines, setting the stage for a new fight over American trade policy. From the White House to Congress, the balance of power had shifted overnight. The consequences were just beginning to unfold. For years, tariffs had divided the nation. Now the Supreme Court had forced a reckoning. The story was about more than money. It was about power and the rules that govern America. The world watched as the U.S. entered a new era. The future of American trade and the balance of power in Washington was up for grabs. So, what are tariffs? Simply put, a tariff is a tax on imported goods. When you buy a foreign-made TV, the government adds a fee at the border, making it more expensive. The importer pays the tax, passes the cost to the store, and you, the customer, pay more. Governments use tariffs to make foreign goods pricier, hoping you'll buy American instead. This is protectionism. Tariffs can also raise government revenue or pressure other countries in trade disputes. But tariffs are a double-edged sword. Protecting one industry can hurt others. If U.S. steel is tariffed, American car makers pay more for steel, raising their costs and prices. That can lead to layoffs and make U.S. products less competitive. Tariffs create winners and losers within the same economy, and tariffs rarely go unanswered. Other countries retaliate, sparking trade wars. If the U.S. taxes Chinese electronics, China might tax American soybeans, hurting U.S. farmers. What starts as protection can end up costing jobs in other sectors. The result? A chain reaction that disrupts the global economy. Tariffs are more than just taxes. They're tools of economic strategy and political leverage. Every tariff decision sets off a ripple effect, shaping industries, jobs, and prices. The debate over tariffs is really a debate over who wins and who loses in a globalized world. That's why the Supreme Court's decision matters to everyone. The story of tariffs is the story of modern trade, and its consequences touch us all. At the heart of the tariff debate is a question: who decides, Congress or the President? The Constitution gives Congress the power to set tariffs and regulate foreign commerce. For most of U.S. history, Congress held this authority. But as trade grew more complex, Congress delegated some power to the President, especially in emergencies. Section 2132 of the 1962 Trade Expansion Act let presidents impose tariffs for national security. The Trump administration used this broadly, arguing that weakened steel and aluminum industries threatened security. Critics said this was a loophole, letting the president bypass Congress and redefine trade policy. Supporters argued the president needed flexibility in a fast-changing world. This tug-of-war set the stage for the Supreme Court showdown. The Trump tariffs, starting in 2018, were sweeping: 25% on steel, 10% on aluminum, even targeting allies. The administration called it vital for America's industrial base. Critics called it economic warfare. Supporters, steel producers and unions, saw a lifeline and a patriotic stand for U.S. manufacturing. They accepted higher prices as the cost of national pride. Critics, businesses, automakers, farmers warned of rising costs, job losses, and global retaliation. Farmers suffered as China hit back, leaving crops unsold. Consumer groups called tariffs a hidden tax on families. The impact was complex. Some steel towns revived, but manufacturers using steel faced layoffs. For every job gained, others were lost. Prices for appliances and construction rose, hitting families and businesses alike. The policy was a trade-off: benefits for some, costs for others. Tariffs became a symbol of division, with real-world winners and losers. The debate over tariffs was never just about economics. It was about identity and the future of American industry. The legal fight against the tariffs was long and grinding. Businesses hurt by tariffs sued, arguing the president had overstepped and Congress had given away too much power. The core issue: did Section 232 give the president a blank check? Plaintiffs said national security was so vague it let the president do anything, undermining Congress's role. Lower courts were reluctant to intervene, deferring to the president on national security. But a coalition of industries built a strong case, showing tariffs hit allies like Canada, hardly a security threat. They argued the law was being abused for economic protectionism, not true emergencies. A key appeals court finally sided with them, setting up a Supreme Court review. The case was no longer just about economics, it was about the limits of presidential power. The stage was set for a landmark decision. The nation waited for the court to decide who truly controls American trade. At the Supreme Court, the debate was fierce. The business coalition argued this was about separation of powers. Congress, not the president, should set trade policy. They warned that letting the president define national security however he wanted erased Congress's authority. Real-world consequences were clear. Retaliatory tariffs hurt farmers, rising costs closed factories. The Solicitor General defended the president's broad authority, citing decades of precedent and the need for executive flexibility. She argued Congress had written the law and never repealed it, signaling approval. The government insisted the president needed tools to act quickly in a dangerous world. Tariffs, they said, were a blunt but necessary instrument for national security. The justices faced a fundamental question: should one person have the power to reshape the economy, or should Congress decide? The answer would reshape the balance of power in Washington. The Supreme Court's decision was sweeping. In a 6-3 vote, it ruled the broad use of Section 232 unconstitutional. The court didn't strike down the law, but said national security was too vague for such sweeping tariffs. The majority revived the non-delegation doctrine. Congress can't hand off its core powers without clear limits. The president's power in foreign affairs is strong, but not unlimited. The ruling forced the Treasury to refund billions in tariffs, giving companies a sudden windfall. Steel and aluminum industries warned of a flood of cheap imports. Markets reacted with both relief and anxiety. Globally, leaders welcomed the decision as a win for free trade and the rule of law. Retaliatory tariffs began to lift, reopening markets for U.S. farmers and manufacturers. The era of trade wars seemed to be ending, but uncertainty remained. The decision signaled a return to a more stable, rules-based trading system. The path forward for American trade was now in Congress's hands. The world watched as the U.S. adjusted to a new reality. This Supreme Court decision redraws the map of power in Washington. For decades, Congress had ceded trade authority to the president. Now, the pendulum swings back. Lawmakers must reclaim their constitutional duty to regulate foreign commerce. Future presidents can impose sweeping tariffs by executive order. They'll need Congress. Trade policy will be slower, more transparent, and subject to public debate. The power to impact every American's wallet returns to Congress. International partners will face a more stable, predictable U.S. trade policy. Trade agreements passed by Congress are harder to undo, giving businesses confidence to invest. The era of tariffs by tweet is over. Challenges remain. Congress is often gridlocked, but the principle is clear. The Constitution, not convenience, guides American power. The decision is a powerful reminder. Democracy means checks, balances, and accountability. This ruling isn't just legal theory, it affects daily life. Families may see lower prices on cars, appliances, and electronics as tariffs disappear. Small businesses and contractors could see costs drop, letting them hire and grow. Farmers regain access to global markets as foreign tariffs lift. For consumers, thousands of products may get cheaper, but not everyone wins. Steelworkers face renewed competition and job uncertainty. The ruling creates new winners and losers, shifting the economic landscape again. It highlights the need for policies to help those hurt by trade changes. Most importantly, the decision strengthens American democracy. It reaffirms that Congress, not the president alone, sets trade policy. Major economic decisions will be made through open debate, not executive decree. The court's ruling is a statement about the enduring strength of the Constitution. In the end, it's about more than tariffs. It's about who we are as a nation.